Our second speaker is Stephanie Helms, and I've known Stephanie since we first began sailing in the Portland area in 2005, which is when I was serving as the pastor on the other side of South Portland at People's United Methodist Church. And I knew of Stephanie for some 10 years before that when we were in Camden racing J24s. Because, well, Stephanie pretty much is one of the top sailors in the country, and everyone who sails competitively in Maine knows Stephanie and usually knows the back of her boat very well, you know, because we're following. So, but Stephanie is not only one of the best sailors I know, but one of the most generous people too. I'll just give you one example. My husband and I had wanted to race J24s for the summer in the midweek races, and we couldn't find anyone who needed crew. And Stephanie was already skippering on another boat, so she said, well, why don't you use my J24 for the season? She didn't charge us anything, she just trusted us with her boat. And I think, because that's just the kind of person that she is. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Stephanie Helms to share her story.
Peace be with you.
And also with you.
Now I start that off with a traditional, I guess you'd call that religious greeting, Pax Vobiscum, all of that. I am myself a very lapsed Methodist. But I wanted to say, this is something that came to mind when Samantha was talking about her sister. My sister was my secret keeper. I'm a lady of a certain age. I was born in 1953, and in about 1957, I was doing a little chore. I had an accident. I had to do some physical therapy when I was quite young. And my mom said, I was 3.5. My mom said to me, good boy. And I said to her, no, girl. So I guess you might say I came out young. And my sister was my secret keeper. And in 2002, after surgery, I opened my eyes and there was my sister who had traveled from Portsmouth, New Hampshire to Indiana, Wisconsin to be by my side. And I opened my eyes and there she was, and she said, hi, sis. And that was a good day. So you should know we are family. We're a family of people. That's all we are.
Amen.
The news today from Colorado was heartbreaking. A 22-year-old young man, inspired by a spirit that I can only call violent, decided to pick up an AR-15, go to a place that was preparing to do what we're doing here today, remembering the people who have passed, remembering the people who have passed this year. We could also remember back to 1933, May of 1933, when another group of people decided to go into a library and pull out books from the shelves. The library was the Institute for the Study of Sexuality in Berlin. Those people were Nazis. They walked into that library, they burned the books. It was the first book burning of what became the Holocaust. the kind of hatred, the kind of vileness that we're seeing in this country today will go very bad unless people of goodwill stand up and say no. Now, I'll give my little talk.
I think you're a Methodist preacher, Stephanie.
Huh?
I think you're a Methodist preacher.
Well, I should say that my sister was also married to a Methodist preacher who in when was Selma? He was on the Pettus Bridge. I come from the tradition of the social gospel. My grandfather founded Goodwill Industries. My dad was a Methodist minister, so being a trans kid in a Methodist minister's family was rather interesting, I'll tell you. But, you know, anyway, I can't see. Let's see if I can make this bigger for myself. I said, as a very lapsed Methodist, I do want to talk about salt and light. I want to say the words of Jesus from Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its saltiness, how will it become salty again? It's good for nothing except to be thrown away and trampled under people's feet. You're the light of the world. A city on top of a hill can't be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. Instead, they put it on top of a lampstand, and it shines on all who are in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before people so they can see the good things you do and praise your Father who's in heaven. We're here today to reflect on and remember the lives of our trans siblings, parents, and children who have passed from us, whose memory is now a blessing, as were their lives. From November 21st, 2021 until today, I wrote this a couple of days ago. TransLivesMatters.info's TDOR database, by the way, Gwen Smith is a friend of mine, lists the names of 57 people in the USA, and now we add 5 more names unknown at this moment. Perhaps they weren't all trans, but they were members of the LGBTQIA community. 5 more people. And 354 worldwide whose lives were cut short by violence and suicide, with people of color acutely impacted. Every one of those precious beings had a light that shone in wavelengths all their own, part of the broad spectrum that is the light of the world. Here are just 2 people whose brilliance lives on in memory. Alex Bastian of Quebec's story is rather dark. He was a trans child, just beginning to grow, confronted by bullying, dysphoria, depression at 10 years old, struggling with a precocious puberty that was wrong for him. And though his parents came to realize the struggles he faced and sought care, it came too late for Alex, who took his life March 9th of this year. It's a parent's worst nightmare, his mother said. No child should choose to take their own life because they question their sexual orientation or gender identity. Fern Feather of Heinsberg, Vermont was 29. She posted on her Facebook page this past March 24th. It's time to tell the world I'm a hot trans woman in a currently male hot bodysuit. Dang, sure took long enough, eh? Please share this to liberate our other beautiful ones. She was stabbed to death by a transphobic man and left to die by the side of the road, April 12th. Montpelier Bridge on April 15th posted these remembrances. There was magic, soul, and light in Fern Feather's life. And I'll bet she was salty too. Her friends saw in her something almost enchanted. One said it was really magical. Fern was a very magical being, soul, and a very open-hearted person. Fern was a magical being and a shapeshifter, and a little bit from the land of fairy, I think. Fern's travels took her to Oregon, where she worked on a farm, accumulating a house full of exotic tropical plants. Imagine that, tropical plants in Oregon. The other Portland is strange. Yet Fern always found her way back to Montpelier. She'd still travel a lot, but she had roots here and really deep friendships and relationships that always drew her back here. She had family. And her community welcomed her. Fern was just a real part of the fabric of this place for so many people. As a trans kid myself, growing up in the 50s and 60s, with a very strong gender sense, first felt and expressed at 3.5, I've known the sadness and confusion that Alex knew in his short life. I also faced the trauma of bullying. Back then, there wasn't much understanding in any realm of the trans experience, and far fewer resources than are here today for either my family or I to lean on for counsel and help. I learned I was the impossible girl. I was lucky I survived, even in that environment, and I wish Alex could have done. I felt too the joy Fern expressed in March, only weeks before her death, of wholeness and understanding in acknowledging a part of herself deeply hidden, but always there, in liberating her beautiful self, as I did nearly 25 years ago, in growing and understanding the impossible world was possible. I've been lucky and I've been privileged. Today we live in a time when loud voices cast more heat than light at trans lives. There are those who would have us disappear, deny us medical care, deny us public existence. In Texas, before the legislature, right now, is a bill drawn so broadly that it would forbid any trans person even being in public. I stand here today in a public place. The legislature of Texas would take me from your fellowship. So broadly, it would forbid any trans person even being in public, forcing us into closeted, fearful lives. Whether out of their own fears or out of malice, these measures have inspired bomb threats against hospitals. There was just one today, another one, against Boston Children's. And only exacerbate the violence that claimed the lives of Alex and Fern and so many more, and the people in Colorado Springs. Yeah, we are here.
Amen.
I am here. Last year, I was part of 3 championship teams in sailboat racing competition, winning the season championship in J24s, Etchels, and performance big boat sailing. That's my joy. That's my jam. That's what I do. I have joy in my life. I have joy in my life more abundant since I became me fully. When I was no longer hiding a part of myself. When I could let my light shine.
Amen.
when I could share the salt that hadn't lost its savor. Trans lives are a part of humanity's lamp. With sorrows, yes, like all lives, and also filled with joy. Our salt has not lost its taste. We season the bread and meat of our mutual existence. On even the most solemn of days where mourning and sorrow are present, I hope we can all remember the joy and work to increase and celebrate it, and fight to embrace the wonderful diversity of human experience, savor the salt, and let our light shine. All of us. Thanks.
Thank you.